All right. Ready? Oh. This is my presentation. I'm not a good person. The Burden of a Leader by Bankole Aladdin. And I hope to change your mind on what it means to be a good person. Before we start today, can I ask you guys all to close your eyes? I can ask you 3 simple questions. The first question I want to ask you is, are you a bully? Second question I want to ask you is, have you been bullied before? And the third question I want to ask you, do you think you're a good person? All right, now open your eyes. Now that you guys have thought about that. So my book today, the book I read was called All the King's Men. And it followed this guy named Jack who went through this whole book trying to figure out what it meant to truly be a good person. He began with this theory called the Great Twitch Theory. Essentially, he came up with this theory by looking at a person, and he realized that they have a twitch in their eyes and they can't control. They don't know they're twitching, but you as a person can see there is a twitch. And he uses to analyze life as being, you can't control your actions. Essentially, that your life is like a twitch. Your actions are like a twitch. You can't control your actions, and whatever happens just happens, just like that. So I'm going to use an example of myself and how I initially had this ideology. So this is grade 2. I'm a young kid, and I get my report card back from school, and I did super bad. I had all C's, and on top of that, the teachers kept saying bad things about me, how I was always talking in class, I was being a trouble kid in class, they would always have to kick me out of class, and I would always get sent to the principal's office. I was super scared to bring this to my mom and show her. So instead of bringing this to my mom, I ran away from home. I ran away and just ran at her for no reason. I felt like I knew she was gonna be mad at me, but I don't want to take responsibility for the fact that she's gonna be mad at me. I felt like she's gonna be mad at me on her own, and the fact that the teacher getting mad at me wasn't my fault. These actions were away from me. As this is an ideology a lot of kids have. Worked at the YMCA before. I see kids all the time. They're not able to take responsibilities for their actions. As you grow older and grow up, you realize that you need to take responsibility for your actions. The things that you do will affect yourself. That's the very basics of what it means to be a good person. So as the book goes on, Jack realizes that that's not a legit theory, and he comes up with a new theory called the spiderweb theory. So essentially what the spiderweb theory suggests is that with a spiderweb, if you touch any part of the spiderweb, the spider can feel it anywhere on the spiderweb. So the spider could be over here, could be over here, could be anywhere, and it will still feel the contact no matter where you touch it, right? So that's essentially what he was saying. He described this as being the world. With your actions, no matter what you do, you're affecting other people around you, right? So this is a very, very complicated theory, and I feel like it needed to be broken down more. So that's what I did today. So anyways, the very first part of this theory is the spider, right? So the spider describes you as an individual. So this is where you accept, like I said earlier, that goes back to my last thing, where I had to realize that my actions affected myself, right? So that's a very basic part of the example. And if we go on to the next slide, a couple slides over, we're gonna see a picture of right here. We're going to see a picture of me. Again, this is a picture of bullying, right? I'm using an example of myself again. I asked the question to everyone, were you a bully? And I can't even lie to you, at one point in my life, I was a bully, right? And this whole idea of a bully for me changed after one big incident in my life. It was grade 6. There was this one kid, for no reason, I bullied this kid all the time. I mean, he was a bigger kid, and I'd always make fun of him for being a bigger kid. I remember this one specific example. This guy came back from band camp, and there was a joke going on in our school that band camp equated to fat camp, right? So this is a thing that all students would call bigger kids, right? If you see a bigger kid coming. So kids coming into school, and from the very top of the bleachers, I yelled down to this kid, how was fat camp? And looking back at it, I was joking with my friends, we were all laughing, we just thought we were having a good time. So I walk out, about to leave for school, and this guy's mom comes and actually stops me and approaches me and says, I heard what you said about my son. I heard you told him how was fat camp. That was very derogatory. And then she went, and then we actually sat down and we talked for a bit. And she explained to me that her son was actually really mentally messed up because of all the bullying that was happening in our school. Her son really, really wanted to move away from school, really wanted to transfer schools. And I never thought, that me saying these things to him would affect him at all mentally, right? Because I'm just feeling that I'm just having a good time. no way my actions could affect other people. I didn't realize that until having a conversation with this lady who opened her mind that what I was saying was really causing this kid to want to move away from our school. So this brings me to the next part of the spiderweb theory, which is how your actions affect others. Like I said, the spider could feel it no matter where, so I used the web that the spider's actually standing on to describe that. Because the interactions you have with people you see on an everyday basis, you're causing them an effect that you may not know. This is something that as you grow older you do realize, and a lot of people do take into account. But this brings me to my very last part of the theory, that not a lot of people, not even myself, realized I was doing something wrong. And I didn't really think that I was a bad person. I thought I'd moved past it, and I thought I was no longer a bully. So this is a picture here of a girl from my high school growing up, actually. Her name was Sarah Action. Right, this is a crazy story about this girl's, to go back to it, like, I was never indirectly mean to her. I never really talked to her, and I never thought anything of it, you know? But it goes back to the story in grade 11, right? So we're all at this party, and we're all having a good time. We're all just, you know, just a bunch of my closest friends, and then all of a sudden we check our Facebook page. And it turns out that there's a big paragraph of this girl and how she committed suicide that day. And it was a crazy story to think about, because at the time, I didn't think anything of it because of the fact I never knew this girl. I didn't think anything I did really affected her life, right? I thought I was distanced from her, so I didn't think that I caused her suicide or anything I did could have done anything to affect her life, right? But after reading this book, while reading this book, this girl actually came into my mind, and for some reason I look back into my high school days, and I think, did I really treat this girl properly? You know what I mean? Like, I think there's one instance in particular. We had a drama class together, and this girl, like, everyone's put into groups, and there's 12 of us, exactly 12 people. So you would think pairing up in two, everyone would be your partner. I remember, like, everyone else in the class paired up together, and I could have paired up with this girl, but I had to do the whole thing by myself. You know, things like that. Like, I never really thought that doing little things like that could affect another individual. You know, because I feel like as long as I treat other people properly, directly, and I do good by myself, I was doing everything that needed to be a good person. This book helped me change that and came up with a final part, is that your actions are responsible for everyone. That's people around you as well. You know what I mean? Like, if you do something, you gotta be considerate of everyone around you, not just think about people that you interact directly and things like that. So now the question becomes, how does this have to do anything with leadership, and how does this tie into this whole concept of being a good leader? So this guy right here, John Gerald Stump, he's a previous CEO of Wells Fargo. And if you know anything about Wells Fargo, you know a lot of stuff went wrong with the company. But I'm gonna use one example in particular, and that was this big layoff this guy made, which laid off 26,000 of his employees. And he did this in order to cut costs and move more into the automation, which is a big thing that's happening in society today. This is, you know, he himself was making more money, and individually, directly, he's not affecting anybody personally, right? But his actions caused 26,000 people who relied on his paycheck to lose their jobs. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't thinking about other people, and he personally may have thought what he was doing was okay. You know, he was making money for the company. He was focused more on the bottom line, right? But he wasn't thinking about his actions affecting everyone, and not just the people directly around him. As a leader, you're gonna be faced with difficult decisions every single day, right? And like, if you focus about directly how your actions affect people around you, and do not focus on everyone else, you're gonna end up doing more damage than potential good. So I'm gonna go back to the very first question. I'm gonna ask you guys to close your eyes again. I'm gonna ask you guys again. Have you ever been bullied before? Are you a bully? And do you think you are a good person? And there you go. Thank you guys very much for listening to my TED Talk. Hope you guys have a great day.